Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Ryan Cunningham, Medham's Help Desk Manager with the Maine Department of Education. Today, I am joined by Trevor Burns, our Student Data Coordinator. Today, we're covering the Student Reports module in the NEO application. With that being said, I'll turn it over to Trevor.
Hello, everyone. Just want to make sure you can hear me. Yep, my name is Trevor Burns, and I'll be going over student reports with you today. So for this, we're just going to be covering all the reports that are located under student reports in the student data section. We won't be handling the reports outside this area, such as graduation or the EFM. We're just going to be doing the reports right in here. One thing, we won't be covering the assessment reports today, as these aren't ready and are subject to change for next year when they are ready to go. So we're just going to be handling the enrollment reports, which should be handled the same way going through this year. So for the first report, we have our April enrollment count report. So this basically is, one second. Yeah, so our April enrollment report, this is just a report of your April 1 enrollments. So these are your students who are enrolled during April 1, be it who left before April 1 or after April 1, they wouldn't be listed in this report. So for this, we have a couple screenshots, and I'm going to start this. So when you enter the April enrollment report, this is the first thing you're going to see. You'll enter your school district. You'll see your district labeled right here. Down at the bottom, you can see a few useful resources. We will go through some of these later, such as the attending student report. But as far as this report goes, you'll enter it by clicking this review button. Once you click this review button, you'll be pulled into a listing of your schools within your district, as well as their attending counts, because for April 1st reporting, we only look at attending counts. So that is the only thing that is getting reported here. And at the bottom, as you can see, this is a comparison from what you had in October during your October 1 counts, just so you can make sure there isn't anything strange going on over the year with your student counts. So as for an example of the details report, we're just going to use the Department of Ed as our example. Oh, actually, no, this wasn't the one that had that. Yep, so for the details report, it's just going to be a listing that is going to basically show you which students are receiving these counts. So if you look back on this page where you see, say you have 222 students that were at your elementary school, if you enter the count, this report located right here, the count details of April 1, this will show you which students are actually receiving those counts and who aren't. So if you want to make sure the specific student is being counted, you can just open up that link right there, and that'll pull up all your students who are getting counts and not getting counts. Attendance historical report. We won't be entering this right now just because it's set up just like the current one, the quarterly report. You would enter this historical one if you wanted to view your attendance data, say from the past school years, like from the 18-19 school year. But if you're coming in to report for attendance, you'll be just using this certification quarterly. And for that, we will use Department of Ed as our example. So once this loads, as you can see, there are already a few columns here. You'll select the quarter in which you're reporting for, and it'll let you know which school, which quarter, which school, how many days enrolled all the students have at that school, because it is aggregated, the days present, and like the total percent absence of all the students. You'll also have a number of excluded students. This just lets you know which students are exempt from being counted as chronically absent, whether they're in pre-K or outside the age range to be counted, as well as just some other information such as who's chronically absent, the percent of that. One useful thing under this navigation, you would see a view link for each of your schools. This will pull you into a details report of that specific school. So if you come to the screenshot here, that report will look like this. It'll pull up the screen like that. And it'll show you your students, which school they're attending, what their specific attendance is. So you can see which students are actually exempt, which students are chronically absent. So you can see who you may need to be focusing on going forward, or if there is a student who may have a potential issue, you can pinpoint who they are. For this report, the quarterly details report, that's the exact same thing we just went into. It's this report right here. It's just a different way to go there. If you don't want to go through your attendance report, you can just go straight here, and that'll bring up the details. Attending student download is a extremely useful report. This report can be used in multiple areas, such as the April 1 report, as you saw when we were in there. It is located at the bottom of the landing page for all schools, so they can just quickly reference it right here. But if you come down here, this will pull up the attending student download where you can select your district. And for this, we will use a screenshot example. So when you open up the attending student report, this is what the report is going to look like. As you can see, it's just going to be general enrollment information throughout the school year for each of your students. As you can see, it has start and end dates. So one thing to note is students can be in this report multiple times if they had multiple enrollments with you, whether they left, came back, or they had an update to their information. You would see both of those enrollments here for that student. One way this could be useful in other places is, say, October or April reporting. If you were to export this file into Excel, which you can do with this little button right up here, this green button, you'll click that and you'll see an option to export to Excel. Once you click that, it'll pull this in a spreadsheet and you can filter on these dates. So you can just make sure you're only looking at the kids who were there on October 1 or there on April 1st, and that'll let you know which students are populating those reports. So the next one is our behavior certification report. And this report is just where you will report behavior incidents during a given quarter. This is another quarterly report. So if we enter this report, you will be able to see, click the attending download one. If you enter the certification report, you'll be able to see what you're reporting here. So you'll be reporting of counts of illicit drug related instances, alcohol related incidents, weapon possession ones, and so on. And again, with like the other reports down here, we have our navigation column. This column is just used for bringing you to the details report, which we do have one of this. So if you were to click this navigation link, or if you were to come here to the behavior details report and click this link, they'll both bring you to our behavior details. And the behavior details report is going to look like this. You'll see which school in your district they're attending, or the responsible district, but you'll get to see who was reported with what incident type. If it was a weapons related, you'll see the weapon type. And you also get to see what resolution was taken, as well as the duration of that resolution. So it's very important just to make sure what's being reported is correct. Next report, we have our CTE October student count report. And this, for the purpose of this report, is for CTE centers and regions to validate that their data going into the state level synergy system is correct, as this can impact funding. But for this report, once you enter it, it will look like this. It's just a general breakdown of the program titles that your organization is offering, as well as the count of students within those programs. So you can see, if you were to click these view details, you can see students across multiple programs, so they may be appearing twice. And again, there is multiple ways you can access this details report, one being right here in the module or clicking that link. And with this, we do have another screenshot. So if you were to click that details report link, it will bring you to a similar looking details report as the others. This one will give you which CTE program they're in, the start and end date of it, as well as their exit status from it. And it gives various subgroup information that can be useful to CTE programs. Next report. This report originally existed in the graduation module, but is now under student reports as we have separated them into completely different reports. They're no longer related. So if you enter the dropout certification report, we'll just use the Department of Ed. So as you see here, this is just a general overview of the report. So one thing you can notice is the number, you have the listing of your schools. So it will show you the number of dropouts you have within each school. And then you have a district total number of dropouts. These numbers may not always equal. And one reason for that is private schools, or 60% schools who have publicly funded students, are not eligible to receive dropouts. And the way those are supposed to work is the school sending the student to those private schools will actually be the ones receiving the dropouts. So that is why you can see that the student, you have a dropout at your district level, but he's not actually within a school. And that is usually due to those scenarios. If you click this, view details, same thing. It's the details report of the dropouts, which you can also locate right there. It will pull you into this report, which will show you which students here are receiving the dropouts, as well as the last exit code used on them and the date. Here you can see the reported school because, as we just mentioned, they may be attending a private school and the dropout is bouncing back to the reporting school. Another important column is this reported grade, as some students may be reported in the following grade depending when they dropped out, because they would be considered a completer of one school year and considered a dropout in the following year. So that is why you can see those grades increment. The next report is a very big report that many of you are probably aware of. This is the October 1st student enrollment report. And this report does carry a lot of financial implications, but this report just looks at your student subgroups and your student counts as of October 1st. So we will enter this. In this one, we will use Maine Department of Ed. So if we click Maine Department of Ed, very similar to the April report, it will bring you to the same landing page where you will have the same resources. You can access the attending student download, where you can just filter on who is there on 10-1. Once you enter the report though, you click the review button again. Here, you'll just see your counts. As you can tell, there's a lot more counts we're looking at than we do in April. So we'll be looking at not only attending counts, but subsidy, grade counts, number of special ed students, number of economic status students, and so on. The comparison box for this one will compare your counts to the previous October year. So just to make sure there's no big jumps in the school year where you lost a bunch of kids or you gained a bunch of kids, this will be a first step to catching those potential errors. Another useful thing is this count summary details. This is a really useful details report when it comes to October 1st reporting. Just want to make sure. Yeah, so it is this report's only located within the report. So if you're confused as to which student is receiving a count or not receiving a count, you'll just click the count details, and this will give you a breakdown of all your students as well as which counts they are actually receiving. So once this loads, Yep, so as you can see, it gives you general information, who the student is, their ages, if they're getting their attending count, their subsidy count or not. So this will just be a 1 if they're getting it, or a 0 if they're not. And you are able to search for a student right in this box. If you have a specific student you know is say a foster care student, you can just look him up and double check to make sure he is appearing correctly. The next report is the out-of-district placement report, and this is a report for schools who have students enrolled outside of their district, and in their district is responsible for those students. It's a way to validate that the enrollment information being put in for their students is correct and accurate. We do have a screenshot for that. So for the out-of-district placement report, it's just like a details report. It's informational. There's nothing you have to go in and certify for this, so that it is just set up like a details report. But you open it up, you can select which responsible district that you have access to, and you can select specific attending districts that say your school typically sends students out to this district, and you want to make sure they're entering in their stuff right. You can select them and look at their students. But this is a good way to validate that the information being put in their systems is correct. Next report is the Truancy certification report. This is another quarterly report. So this report certifies truancy data that within a given quarter. We'll open that up. So for an example, let's go to the Maine Department of Ed. So as you can see, the truancy report is broken up by attending only as well as responsible. So as you can tell, you'll have your students who actually attend you, their truancy incidents will be reported here, and the students that you are responsible for will have theirs reported here. The details report, just like other ones, is located on the right. Number of truancy instances, number of unexcused absences. So you can see this report isn't letting you know who has truancies in. It's letting you know that we see a large number of unexcused absences and we see this number of incomplete truancy incidents. So it's basically flagging students who we deem as should probably have a truancy incident put in for them, but they don't. So we'll just mark them here so you can come and make sure that all your truancies are in correct place and whether or not the student actually needed one. And if you click this view details, this will pull up the detailed report of truancy, which you can also view again right below it. But truancy details report, much smaller, basically just who the student is. These are your actual truancies put in, as well as the ones that aren't put in. So you can see truancy start date. If they have one, they have a truancy put in. If they don't, these are the students we're identifying as potentially truant, such as this one. He's 53 days absent, but no truancy. Can you just verify, make sure that's right? Because as far as the way it looks, he probably should have one put in. Next report we're just going to talk on in general, Maine Care Seed report. This report gives us data from Department of Human Health Services, and it's basically for services provided in accordance with an IEP or an IFSP. But if you guys have more questions on that, Denise Towers will be the content specialist for that. And for the last three reports, for special services report, the first one is the EFS 05 Part 1. Basically, this report is attached to October 1 reporting. And as you can tell during the October 1 report, this was the top grid within the actual report, which I'll go back and show you in a second. Yeah, so this will basically let you know who is getting counted during that October 1, whether they're getting that student count, what and just their general special ed info, their setting, what their exceptionality is, whether they're an EL student, and general subgroup information. And just to show you how that does relate back to October. So when you enter the October report, this top section right here is your special ed child count EFS 05 part 1. So this is where you will also be confirming the information in this report again. But this is where the actual certification of that happens. But this is your detailed report for that. The next special service report is our special ed exit report. I believe this one is currently going on. And this was a report of just all your students that were exited from special ed throughout the year. So as you can see, it'll give you counts, the number of students you had leave special ed because they graduated with a diploma or because they reached maximum age, dropped out, and so on. And down here, just like all our certification reports almost, there's a navigation link that you can click view on, and it will pull you into the details report, which we do have a screenshot for. So in the details report for that is just the students who were exited from special ed, what the exit reason was, what their exceptionality was, just to make sure that their exit was correct given all the information available. And down here you'll get a total number of students who exited from special ed and the number of students who exited due to per federal guidelines. And with that, that is the listing of student reports we have. So we will open up to questions now, guys. One thing I do ask is, since we did cover a lot of reports, just mention the report you're referencing or talking about if you have a specific question on one. It looks like we do have some questions. One question: why would a student who has either reached maximum age for services or who has received a certificate of completion show up on a dropout report? Students who age out are actually considered dropouts due to federal guidelines. If a student did not graduate in time, or if they exited, say, to adult ed or a workforce program, those are considered dropouts. We also only award completer counts to students who received a diploma and actually graduate with a diploma. Next one, the dropout report is also showing students not enrolled eligible to return. I am not sure why they're showing up. So basically the way that the dropout report is working is if a student was exited, let's say at the end of the school year, not enrolled eligible to return, that student is still obligated to return to school by October or on October 1st of the following school year due to federal guidelines of what counts as a dropout. So regardless of the exit, if the student isn't enrolled on October 1st of the following year, they will be counted as a dropout. It is my understanding that special purpose private schools do not do truancy reports. I believe so. I think Ryan may have a better answer to that than myself.
They don't. The special purpose private schools report attendance, and then that attendance can be seen by the responsible district, and it's up to the responsible district to do any appropriate truancy reporting on students.
Thank you. Next one, which reports need to be certified by the superintendent? Basically, any of the certification reports we certify by the superintendent. So our quarterlies, such as the April attendance report, we'll actually just go through them real quick. Like the April enrollment count will be certified, the attendance report, behavior quarterly, dropouts, and truancy quarterly. Basically, any report that requires a certification of some sort will be done by the superintendent. You're very welcome, Dara. Dropout. Will districts receive an annual dropout rate? The DOE doesn't do dropout rates like they did in the past. We just do counts. I believe if you wanted to request like a rate for a specific reason, you could put in a data request, but we do not publish rates anymore. What if students should be what if any should be what students should be excluded from state reporting? Specifically when it comes to what? And if you could go in a little more detail with that. Next question though. If there are errors on the exit report and corrections have been made in Infinite Campus and updated in Synergy, how do we get the corrections to carry over to the exit report? I believe that would be something happening automatically unless Ryan is aware of something going on between those. But
All right, I'm trying to catch up. What was the question again, Trevor?
yeah, so someone's saying if there are errors on the exit report and corrections have been made in Infinite Campus, which have been updated to Synergy, how do they get the corrections to carry over into the exit report?
If I'm not aware of any ETL issues between Synergy State Edition and NEO currently for the exit report, I'm assuming they're referring to the Special Services exit report. If that individual has examples, I'd strongly urge them to send that off to the help desk so that we can take a look at it.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, and that's one of the useful things about asking questions on this is you may actually have something that could be a possible issue, and we'll just take those over at the help desk. So the October 1st report. Okay, so on the October 1st report, what students should be excluded from state reporting?
Privately funded are the only ones that would be excluded. So if they're publicly funded in any way, they're susceptible to state reporting.
Okay, so right now that is all the questions. If you guys have any questions, feel free to open up your GoToWebinar module on the right. There's a little gray section for questions. You can just type them, send them over to us, and we'll answer them on the webinar. But right now, we'll just hang out for a little bit. I will take this time actually to show you where this webinar will get posted. Yep, someone actually just asked. This webinar will be posted, so I'll actually show you right now where that is. So if you come over to the Maine DOE webpage, again, you'll find our section right here, data reporting, help desk. This will have just about all the resources you'll need for reporting instructions and such. If you scroll down to our resource tiles, our webinars and presentations is where all these webinars are going to go, and they'll be posted, as well as all the questions you guys ask and the answers we give will be posted there. If your question didn't receive an answer back, we will amend them and give them answers for when they do get posted. So if if we said we would get back to you or you didn't catch an answer we said, they will be typed out and posted. But with that, we'll hang out for a couple minutes. You're welcome, Rebecca, and wait for questions. Oh, we did have a quick question up there. Can you print a copy of any reports? You can print them and you can export them. So like if you were to say export it to Excel on one of these reports with this little button right here, yeah, you can just export it to a CSV or Excel, and then you can do whatever you want with from there with those. Very welcome, Margaret. Looks like it's slowing down and people are heading out. We'll give a couple more minutes in case anyone has any last second questions. You're very welcome, Nancy. So looks like just a lot of thank yous coming in. You're welcome, Cindy. So I think we'll go ahead and wrap it up. If you guys do have questions, though, the help desk is still there, and we do do a lot of things with these reports. So if you just have a quick general question, we should be able to answer those. But with that, I believe we're all set. Thank you, everybody, for attending the webinar, and have a great day.